All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, a year ago, we saw the St. John's Red Storm barely miss out on making the NCAA tournament. And of course, after that, head coach Rick Pitino vowed that things would be much different this time around. Well, I'm here to tell you that Pitino has been a man of his word as the Red Storm are not only well on their way to making the big dance this year, but they are the best team in the Big East Conference. So far in Big East play, we're looking at a St. John's team that is 15 and 2 within the league. The Johnnies' only two losses this season within the Big East, a 1 point loss on the road to Creighton, and then from there, we just saw them recently upset on the road, courtesy of Villanova. But we're talking about a St. John's team. They're 24 and 4 overall. And the last time that the Johnnies won 15 games within the Big East was 1985. And of course, if you're a St. John's fan and you're old enough to remember that year, that was also the Johnnies' last trip to the Final Four. So far, the month of February has been very kind to St. John's. Once you eliminate that 2 point loss to Villanova, we're talking about um, a pair of wins over Connecticut. And of course, it's not the same UConn team that we just saw win back to back national championships. No, but it's still Connecticut. Okay. And we saw them go up to Hartford a couple of weeks ago and get the 6 point win. And then, of course, the 14 point win at Madison Square Garden yesterday. And of course, St. John's came out strong. They scored 50 in the first half. They had an 18-point lead and they got it up to 23 points. And then we saw them weather that storm of that UConn run because you got a lot of guys that are still on his team that know what it takes to win a national championship. So, with that said, the Huskies were not going to roll over, but nonetheless, St. John's weathered that storm. We also saw them get revenge on Creighton, if you will. They got a 6 point win over the Blue Jays at Madison Square Garden last Sunday. Big time win over Marquette as well. Okay, we've seen this the St. John's team, hold off the likes of a good Xavier team, hold off the likes of a good Georgetown team. And it's not by accident while we are seeing the success that St. John's is having so far this season. And of course, when you think about a guy like Rick Pitino has forgotten more about coaching. He's forgotten more about basketball than most people are going to know, okay, in a lifetime. And now he has an opportunity to do something very special, and he is going to do something very special. He's taken Providence to the NCAA tournament. He took Kentucky to the NCAA tournament. He took Louisville to the NCAA tournament. He took Iona to the NCAA tournament. So now we're going to, and he took Boston University to the NCAA tournament as well. So now St. John's is about to be the sixth different program that Rick Pitino has gotten to the NCAA tournament. And now Rick Pitino could do something very special. He's already gotten Providence, Kentucky, and Louisville to the Final Four. Could St. John's be the fourth different program that he's been able to get to the Final Four? You look at it like this. You knew when St. John's barely missed out on the tournament last year. You knew that Rick Pitino was going to be hard at work as far as saying, you know what, not on my watch once again. And from day one at St. John's, Rick Pitino has made everybody there embrace the NIL, embrace the transfer portal. And we are seeing that impact on this team this year. Getting a guy like Kadari Richmond over from Seton Hall, and I know that Richmond is hurt right now for the Johnnies, but still, he is a big time factor in what St. John's has been able to do this year. You get a guy like RJ Lewis coming in, you get a guy like Zuby Ejiofor, okay, as well. Some of the top players that St. John's has. But nonetheless, Rick Pitino's message always stays the same, regardless of where he's coaching. It starts with hard work. You start your hard work at the defensive end of the floor. When you think about Rick Pitino's teams, whether it's been in the pros with the Knicks or the Celtics or at the collegiate level, they always press. Okay. They are always mentally tough. And we are seeing that with the St. John's team this year. So you look at the Johnnies, they're 24 and 4. Basically, all of their losses this season have been close ones. A double overtime loss to Baylor, the 3-point loss to Georgia, the 2-point loss to Villanova, the 1-point loss to Creighton. They've been right there. Now St. John's has the opportunity to finish this Big East season strong. They're going to be the top seed heading into the Big East tournament next month. They got Butler on the road this Wednesday. Then they got Seton Hall at the Garden next Saturday for Senior Day, and then they finish up after that on the road at Marquette before they come back to town and get themselves prepped for the Big East tournament. I'll tell you like this. It's been a long time since we've been able to say this, but when St. John's is relevant, okay, it adds a little something extra to the Big East Conference. And of course, we haven't seen St. John's be this relevant in quite some time. The last time that the Johnnies finished the season ranked, you got to go back to 2011. That was Steve Lavin's first year with the Red Storm. He had them as one of the top teams in that Big East conference. That was the mega Big East conference, okay, the 16 team Big East conference where you still had your Syracuse's, you still had your Pitts, your Cincinnati's, and St. John's is right there. They finished that season fifth, okay, and got to the NCAA tournament. But nonetheless, it's been a long time since there's been a buzz around St. John's basketball and the shape that it is right now. You probably got to go back to the late 90s of the Mike Jarvis, Fran Fraschilla type days around this program to find that. And for St. John's, it's a very special place when they win. Why? Because, yeah, St. John's historically, okay, is a national program. They haven't been that way in a very long time. But when you think about St. John's, it's always been about them with their local guys, okay, their local coaches and their local players. And of course, St. John's has always typically had success when they have the local coaches. You think about the late, great Lou Carnesecca and what he meant to this program. Now the same thing can be said about Rick Pitino. And then, going back to the brief time that Fran Fraschilla was there, he was a local guy who was starting to turn things around. And of course, Mike Jarvis, was able to come in and ride those coattails for a couple of years before things really went by the wayside. But nonetheless, St. John's has always been a New York City thing. Uh, Typically recruiting the New York City kids out of the New York City area. And again, there's a buzz about this program that we haven't seen in a very long time. I always say this: Madison Square Garden is a special place. New York City as well, when you're winning. And I think this current version of the St. John's Red Storm, they're finding that out right now. So you look at the Johnnies, they have the potential to be a very dangerous team in the NCAA tournament, depending on what bracket that they get. I know that all of the buzz right now is about the SEC. All of the buzz is about the Big 12 and the Big 10. These mega conferences, they're going to combine for at least 30 bids for the NCAA tournament next month. I totally get it. But you get a team like St. John's, a well-coached team like St. John's with a head coach who's kind of been there and done that. He's going to have these kids ready. He's going to have these kids prepped. And nonetheless, they're going to be the odds-on favorite going into the Big East tournament first and foremost next month. There are going to be some sleepers. I will talk about that more the closer that we get to the Big East tournament. But nonetheless, the Johnnies right now, they're the class of the league. Okay. If you build it, they will come. Rick Pitino has done it in a very quick period of time. This guy, like I said before, has forgotten more about coaching than most of us, or basketball for that matter, than most of us will ever know in a lifetime. But nonetheless, he has come, he has saw, and he has conquered. Rick Pitino has been a big difference maker in a quick period of time in Queens, and there's a buzz around the St. John's program that has not been there for quite some time. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.